In progress.
Freestyle with me till you find it grooving. Oh, we might live. All right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to see you all this evening. If this is your first time that you are in this space, my name is Bernita Adele. I am the founder of America's Hot Sauce. I'm an anti-racist, and I am excited to welcome you all tonight to Black Love is the Revolution. We have an amazing show and lineup tonight. I'm super excited for all of our panelists, all of our spiritual healers that are with us tonight, our experts who are going to tap in with this space. And so make sure that you all jumping in. The chat is open on our YouTube channel. Make sure you are dropping in that chat where you all are tuning in from. Be sure that you are chatting with each other. And we're going to also have some Q&A after our panel of all Black husbands who are all happily married to a Black woman. So we are excited. Make sure that you put your information and your questions in the chat. But truth be told, before we get too deep into tonight's program, I just want to take a brief moment, a brief solemn moment to honor really one of our great ones. Our dear friend, Idea Brobent, passed away today. And she was a long time, for nearly 40 years, she was living with HIV and AIDS. And she also was a fierce HIV advocate. Many of you might remember her as a child on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And she was also a fierce supporter of myself, of our previous brands, Human Intonation. And I will just briefly ask that we take just a moment to have a brief moment of silence. And I'll share Hadia's photo on screen and also share, as I said, she was a supporter of our brands. This is Hadia in 2014 wearing one of our t-shirts for the love of life at the BET Awards. So we'll just take a moment for a moment of silence. Thank you all. Okay. And so as we get into this evening, we really do have an awesome lineup. We're going to jump right into our first segment of the night. We are going to be hearing from Kirti Preet with some healing breath work for us, so just to get grounded and to get our minds around Black Love is the Revolution. And we'll talk a little bit more tonight about what that means, but I will frame our event tonight is a calling. It's a call to action for us to think differently about how we approach relationships as Black people, how we think about marriage as Black people, because there is a significant impact of what's happening to us in our community at the level of singleness that we have amongst Black people. And it truly is a revolutionary act in the face of white supremacy for Black love to thrive. So, whole Black families and healthy relationships are essential to dismantling systems of oppression and instead create opportunities for Black love, Black families, and Black communities to thrive. And I will note that America's Hot Sauce is inclusive of all family and relationship structures, and we look forward to highlighting and bringing content for all forms of Black love at future events. So we thank you all for tapping in tonight. And so now I'm going to bring to the stage our first guest. Okay, we're bringing up Kirti.
Yes, I am here. I'm here.
Oh, excellent. Kirti, thank you so much for joining us. And if I were to briefly introduce you, thank you so much for joining us, Queen.
I'm so glad to be here with you.
Excellent, excellent. So Kirti Priest is a force of nature. She's committed to nurturing and building us up, enhancing the quality of our lives, and promoting a heightened state of awareness for greater clarity, intention, and purpose through music, medicine, spiritual healing, and counseling, sound healing, and energy medicine. I'll turn it over to you, Kirti. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here and to share in this space and to contribute to this beautiful, beautiful cause of Black love. So we're going to jump right into it. And if everyone is in a safe and comfortable space, I'd like for you to really consider your environment right now with giving your full undivided attention to what I'll be sharing with you, because this is really an integral part of how we will open this space for greater love. And this is a really important part with connecting with our breath so that we can really still all of the noise inside and be quiet enough to really, really listen to what is going on inside so that we can really receive this message. So that being said, oh,
And actually, Kirti, just so that the audience is aware, so just to maintain the integrity of this work
mhm,
that we're getting ready to do, I am going to pause our recording and we'll resume after the completion of the exercise.
okay. All right. Wonderful. So if everyone can come into a seated position, whether you're in a chair or if you're on a yoga mat, wherever you are, just come into a position where you can have a tall and elongated spine. Your neck is elongated and your chin is gently tucked. Okay, so how we'll start is I'm going to share with you a breath work. It'll be a 3-minute breath work, and 3 minutes of breathing and meditation will change how your blood is circulating in your body, and it will also affect your electromagnetic field. We are electric beings. We also magnetize. And so when we're talking about love, we want to consider what is that flow of breath and that blood within us? What are we magnetizing? What are we attracting? And so this is the foundation, starting with the breath. And I want to share with you some principles to remember. Your rate of breathing and your state of mind are inseparable. Okay. So wherever your mind is, I want you to really allow this to place you in a soft place where you are safe and where you are open and receptive to receive all that is here for you. All right. The slower your rate of breathing, the more control you have over your mind. And also, this is one, the mind follows the breath and the body follows the mind. Okay. So when we're talking about love, we want to really consider what is the state of our mind? Because we have all of these things that follow our actions, and how are we, where is our mind? What do we think about love? So we're going to start first with the breath and fall in love with that foundation. So in seated position and a tall spine, I want you to bring your left hand into, this is called a Gyan Mudra. This is directing the energy in a specific way. All right, you're just going to let that rest gently and bring your right hand to your right nostril. We'll be here for 3 minutes, all right? And this is called the U breath. This is cleansing both of our channels. We have different channels of breathing, the prana, which is the life force, giving energy, and then the apana, which is the elimination. All right, these are both necessary for our health. And so we're going to start there. And also, I want you to better understand that inhaling through the left and exhaling through the right, which is what we're going to do, it helps to make you calm and integrates unwanted negative emotions. All right, really, really consider how powerful the breath is. And so we get to address these negative emotions, release them, as well as stress. All right. And then inhaling through the right and exhaling through the left gives clarity and a positive mood. Okay. And it helps us to focus on what is important. And right now, what is important is Black love. All right. So as we're here, bringing your right thumb to your right nostril, I'll demonstrate it for you first. You'll inhale through the left, you'll suspend the breath, and then you'll bring your index finger over to the left and exhale through the right. And then from here, you'll inhale through the right, suspend the breath, then you'll bring your thumb back over and exhale through the left. I'll direct you as we go and let us begin. All right. We'll inhale through the left. And the eyes are closed. If you can roll them up to the third eye, that would be great. If just closing them is more comfortable for you, do what is most comfortable for you. I understand this may be new for some of you, so I respect and I admire your courage to try something new and to really connect with the breath. I'll say this too. Sometimes if this is new for us, and even for those who it may not be so new for, we may feel a lot of thoughts coming in, rushing in. That is natural. Just allow yourself to be an observer. Just observe the thoughts. Don't become attached to any of them. Just see them as clouds passing in the sky. All right. And stay connected to the breath. Follow the breath. All right. All right. Here we go. Inhaling through the left nostril. Suspend the breath. Bring that index finger over to the left and exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right. Suspend the breath. Good. Bring that thumb over and exhale through the left. And as you can feel, it's called the U breath. We're cleansing both channels. Inhale left. Suspend the breath. Good. Bring that index finger over and exhale through the right. And inhale right. Suspend the breath. Good. Bring that thumb over, close it off, and exhale left. And we're going to continue on this flow. Inhale left. Suspend the breath. Index finger over, exhale right. Good. Inhale right. Suspend the breath. Bring that thumb over and exhale left. You may start feeling yourself relaxing more. Deepen into that. Inhale left. Suspend the breath. Good. Bring that index finger over and exhale right. Inhale right. Suspend the breath. Good. Close it off with the right and exhale left. This will be our last rotation. All right, here we are. Inhale left. Suspend the breath. Bring Bring that index finger over, close it off, exhale right. Inhale right. Suspend the breath. Bring the thumb over, close off that right, and exhale left. Good, and release that posture. Just let your hands rest in your lap and breathe through both nostrils and feel into that. The mind follows the breath and the body follows the mind. And so when you allow yourself to connect to the breath, then you set yourself up for success. And with the subject of love, we want to be clear on the love that we're bringing, the love that we are, and the love that we're open on ourselves to receive. So this meditation that I'm sharing with you is a meditation to heal a broken heart. And I wanted to start there first because we have in our lives had many opportunities to love and to be loved. And if we don't address the brokenness that we've experienced in loving, then we continue to build on that, on those fragmented parts of what our idea or what our experience of love is. And so, in an effort to create a clean slate for you to build fresh, beautiful, potent, healing love upon, for that to be your foundation, we will start with healing the broken heart. And you can consider the loves that may have hurt you or the love that you may have hurt, and welcome yourself to forgiveness and welcome yourself to heal, so that when you do hear this message that these brothers have to bring, right, that you can really see with new eyes and feel with a renewed heart. I'll share a little with you about this so you can better understand. This meditation is very relaxing if you understand it. The autonomic system will relax and your breath will automatically move toward a meditative pace to renew and relax your heart and mind. So we started that with the breath, all right? And we're continuing to deepen into that. To heal the emotional wounds of the heart, we need to bring calm to the nerves that hold the wound. And that is what we're doing. We're bringing calm to the nerves that hold the wound. We know that in a break in relationships to others or to ourselves has almost identical reactions in the nervous system and brain as a physical injury or a loss of limb. And so this mudra, which is how I'll show you with our hands, it generates a subtle pressure which adjusts the heart meridian along the little finger and the forearm, okay, activating the action nerve junction with the autonomic system to reset itself, okay? And by keeping our arms in the good form, in this parallel, I'll show you that, we finally are able to use that pranic force, okay, with the alignment of the posture of how we're going to hold our arms and our hands, all right? So this quells the residual emotional storms. So in your seated position, you're going to have your arms, you may experience some discomfort. If you do, it's natural, especially if this is new for you. So be kind to yourself. All right. And we'll be here just for some time. Breathe into it. All right. We're going to be here with the arms are going to be parallel here. And this middle finger here is going to be here at the third eye. All right. And so we'll be here breathing, just slowly breathing. And are we all right with time, Renita? Just okay. Okay.
I was going to say, no, we're at time.
Oh, we're at time. Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, there we are. If you are able to at some point in in this session. I don't know how that is, but and
Yes.
take this
Why don't
home with
you,
you.
I was gonna say yes. Would you like to show us to
Yes. Yes.
yes, so
And
let's
this is really it. This is really how simple it is. So you'll be here and it'll literally be here, and you're just going to breathe. Yes. And you'll keep your forearms. That's where the challenge may come because that's where you're doing all the activation. Even the armpits, the glands in the armpits, all of that becomes activated. The middle finger is going to be more between your brows. So bring them down just a little. Yeah, there. Just between the brow. All right. And so that is, and because you're stimulating this point here, all of these points, we have meridians along our body. And so we're hitting different meridians that have different activations. And that is it. That is the meditation to heal a broken heart. And you'll just sit there and breathe in slowly, long, slow, deep breaths. Yes. Thank you so much. Oh, you're on mute.
oh, I'm muted.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Kirsty. I know I feel more grounded. Everybody who's watching, we have many people tuning in on YouTube right now. So thank you, Kirsty,
Oh,
for
my
coming in
pleasure.
and sharing with us.
My
And is there any last words, just if you could share with our audience where they can find you?
Oh, yes. You can find me on kirtipreetkar.com. That's KIRTIPREETKAUR.com. And I would love to hear from you. So send me an email and you can see what I have available as well on the website. And it's been an honor to be here with you and to share this with you. Blessings as you continue to expand in your love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirsty Ashe.
Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. That was the beginning of our event tonight for Black Love is the Revolution. We've gotten grounded. Thank you again to Kirti for that amazing breath work. And and Kirti will be back. So this is an event I didn't mention that America's Hot Sauce will be doing a virtual event once a quarter between for this year. Our next one will be in June, and we plan to have Kirti back in September with our Self Care is the Revolution theme. And make sure that if you're not already, make sure you're dropping where you're from in the chat. Shout out to our team who's putting in information. You could also be sure you tap in with that promo and get 10% off tonight when you purchase your Black Love is the Revolution t-shirt from America's Hot Sauce.club. Now we are getting into it. So we've gotten grounded, and now I'm super excited to bring up Chris Kazi Roll, who is a relationship strategist. He's going to be sharing with us some expert tips tonight. And if this is the first time that you are meeting Kazi, you are in for a treat because I've known Kazi now for many years, and he is just really awesome in everything that he does. So, just for your benefit, Chris Kazi Roll, he is a relationship strategist and the co-founder of Together Apart, a relationship wellness company of singles for singles and couples. And believe me, everyone, that is not his only role. I mean, this brother, he's got it going on. His intimate understanding of human relationships and inspiring life story has made him a sought after expert for various media outlets. You have seen him everywhere from Essence and Huffington Post to CNN and the Oprah Winfrey Show. So let's bring to the stage Kazi. Oh no,
There
you're
we go.
muted, Kazi.
Mic check. There we go. There we go. You hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
I can hear you.
good,
Thank you
good.
so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I know we have a brief moment with
Yes.
you, but we want to tap in to some relationship expert tips. So first, I would ask, if there's anything that you want to share about yourself. I know I just gave my first bio,
No,
but just
I'm
to
here.
give context. Okay,
Okay.
I was like, just to give context, the theme is Black Love is the Revolution. I'm curious what that means to you, how that ties into your work, and then we'll get into some relationship tips.
Uh, the cornerstone of our community is the family, and the cornerstone of the family is the relationships in the house, particularly the mom and dad of the house. They are of a lineage but that love is permeates the whole community. And a lot of the issues that we have, such as, people who might be incarcerated, people who might be in the streets of prostitution, different challenges are a direct result of an unhappy, unhealthy household. So if you strengthen, at least as you asked, my perspective, if you strengthen the love between the men and women, then there is a domino effect that would happen. And so, I learned a long time ago, focus on the root, not the fruit. And so I feel like that's at the at the root of some of our issues. And if we want to really have a revolution, that's where we really need to focus and get on the same team, in the spirit of love.
Come on, we already on the same page about that. We are already on the same page about that. So this
Yes.
is where I think in part the rubber meets the road, because sometimes it comes down to like, what are some of the brass tacks
Yeah.
approaches or tips or things that as we go through our journey of finding love, and you yourself, you done found your forever person. Shout out to Nefra. Ladies, back up, because Kazi is married and father of one.
Two.
And
Actually, two.
two.
Yeah, I have.
Congratulations.
No, I have.
Oh,
Well,
oh, that's right. That's right.
yeah. I have a 20, a 26, and a 6. So it's a nice.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right. So forgive me. I sounds like that's true. You are a family of two, or a family of four. Um, so jumping right into tips. One of the things, there's a couple of things that come to mind. I think at the top of the list, I know for myself, is we often talk about men and women not speaking the same language. So we're trying to build healthy, loving Black relationships. What
Yes.
are some of the first tips that you would give around communication to sustain healthy relationships?
Get comfortable saying the truth and receiving the truth. Some of us could give it, but we can't take it. But I think if we are comfortable with hearing the truth and saying the truth, I think it would alleviate a lot of the drama and the challenges that we have. Um, in order, and so in order to get to the truth or get comfortable saying the truth, I think many of us have to spend time in therapy to uncover some of the things that are there. It doesn't only have to be traditional therapy. It can be journaling as a form of therapy, or cathartic writing. You can do, meditation, and a lot of it is solitude and time alone, and not like with TV on and doing other things that distract you from yourself, but really having a long look in the mirror at yourself. I think that's key in being able to sit and get to your own personal truth, so you're comfortable sharing it. I always say men have to get comfortable saying the truth, because a lot of times we say what we think women want to hear. And by the time she finds out the truth, it comes out in various ways. I could go down a long list, but I'm just going broad strokes. And then on the women's side, I think women intuition is real. And so I would say for women, it's to trust her intuition, which is the truth. And Chris Rock said a woman can have all the proof in the world, but she want the confession. And then on the guy's side, we have that song. I think it's Sean Paul. Was it? It wasn't me. If they catch you on camera, it wasn't me. And so men get comfortable speaking the truth. Women get comfortable believing her own truth.
Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But yes, absolutely. But I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
The truth and the intuition. And you touched on something about, I imagine that it's also important, as you are speaking truth and speaking your truth, to have a partner who's available to receive it. What are some of the things that you have looked for, or that you suggest people look for in a life partner? Because I think another thing that comes up is that sometimes we have a hard time picking. That might be a result of our life experiences. You mentioned, being in some type of a therapy or healing work. And if we haven't worked out all of those things, or even at least gotten on the journey with them, might make it harder for us to pick. So what are some of the qualities that we're looking for?
I think integrity. on the small things? Did they call you and they said that they were going to call? And if they didn't, was there an acknowledgement of, hey, I broke that word? Things in their life, things that they say that they want to do, are they doing those things? Are they just keeping their word with themselves? Because how could the foundation of any relationship is trust. Trust is really built upon integrity. People say they're going to do something and they're going to give you their word, they're going to do it, and they keep that word. So if you were dating someone, they don't show up to the date and you never hear from them, and then you hear from them 2 weeks later, it's hard to build a relationship with a person like that. And so I think looking for someone who integrity is important to them. And then the next thing is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Just, some people can't, are not aware of how they show up in the world, of how the things they say land with other people. They're not aware of their own stuff. You can never build a relationship with somebody that doesn't have an awareness of self. And yes, so I would stop there, because if you can find those two, a commitment to being a person of integrity, a person who is self-aware, and I would say a good listener. A good listener is a good tool. If you are sharing things and the other person really hears you, might give you a gift when something you said in passing and they heard you, or something that was important to you. In other places in their life, they don't feel heard, they don't feel seen. But with you, it's like, wow, you really see me, you really get me. So I think if you find that trifecta, that's a good blend of somebody you want to build with.
I love that. I love that. Okay, last question for tonight.
Yes.
One of the things that seems to be in our generation, and the generations coming behind, millennials, Gen Z, is that there is less tolerance. So I think about, my parents have been married for 52 years. And the older I get, I am clear it was not peaches and roses for those 52 years.
Right.
But there was a commitment to staying married, and there was a commitment to working things out. Today, it seems a little bit more like, you did one thing I don't like, I'm out.
Yeah.
What would you say is around the commitment to working it out, how important that is to sustaining long-term Black relationships?
I don't have enough time. I'm gonna do the best I can in the time that I allotted. I don't have enough time. But I think it is values. Some people don't value this idea of forever. Some people are reimagining marriage, or reimagining the length that marriage should be. It's say, hey, I could commit to you at the highest level for the time period that the Most High grant us this time together. But if we have clear agreement and you break that agreement, then I have to stay in integrity with who I am, and I have to move on. But then for some people, they have other values, which is like, yo, I'm with you. I'm loyal. I trust that sometimes things will not be peaches and cream, and when they're not, we're going to talk it out and we're going to work on it. That's a value system. And so I think it's about alignment, finding people who are aligned with you. We use the word values, but what is the real application of that? But one of my jobs is that I'm a matchmaker, right? I'm putting people together, but that's at the core of the matching, and I'm doing a program now called Dating Me. It's a program, a 6-month program for anybody that want to get relationship ready. And one of the key things is just being able to, have that time period to look at that for yourself. And so, but yeah, that's what I would say, just getting super clear on your values, and finding people who connect with those values. But you are right. We are in a time where people have a lot of choices. They don't have a lot of patience. We live in a microwave society. We live in a time when you could just turn on the internet and swipe and find people. So why am I staying in something that I feel like I could find people who have these particular qualities that I want? But there's an illusion of that. There's illusion within that. That's a whole event unto itself, because it is a conversation that we
like, agreed.
because the issues that we have during this time, they are new, right? It's a whole new world. There are whole new circumstances that we have to look at, but there are a lot of ramifications when we jump relationship to relationship to relationship. But one last thing I'll say is part of the reason why people are leaving, it is really more what you said, what we talked about earlier, is that they picked wrong. And sometimes we don't realize what's most important to us because we don't spend enough time by ourselves and going through therapy that we end up going back to that after creating a lot of trauma and damage to ourselves on top of what was created growing up and being in this society or being in the families that we are in, that we then have to go back and kind of repair ourselves. And hopefully during that repair, people believe in love again and would try again. Because at first you don't succeed, you try again. But some people, they don't do that work. They don't go to the therapy. They don't clean up the damage that has been happened. And then, hurt people, and it perpetuates itself. So that's why when I say go to the root, especially in the interest of time, I always say just go do the work on yourself. If you do the work on yourself, your relationships will be better. Will they be perfect? No, but you'll have tools, you'll have self-awareness, you'll be a person of integrity, you'll have these qualities that, things may not be perfect, but you'll be happy, you'll be at peace, and you will be aligned with the person that you're in a relationship with.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank
Yeah.
you for that, Kazi. So awesome. And yes, we can deep dive. We're going to continue to unpack this.
Yes.
We're going to have part 2 for sure.
Sure.
And again, for anyone, we're going to be dropping Kazi's link in the YouTube chat. As he mentioned, make sure you tap in with him, not just for Together Apart, but for Dating Me, his brand new dating readiness. Say it one more time, Kazi.
Well, Together Apart is the company, the matchmaking and relationship coaching service, and one of our programs is called Dating Me, and that particular program is happening right now. We're still signing. We actually start next week, Wednesday. And yeah, if you're ready for to have a long look in the mirror and work on yourself and date yourself, then you come on over to togetherapart.us. Togetherapart.us.
I love
Thank you,
that. We're gonna
Minister.
drop that in the chat.
All
No,
right,
thank
thank you.
you, Kazi. I'm coming. I'm in Kazi is also a business coach. I'm in his programs. I'm gonna be coming to Dating Me next because I do believe in dating myself, and I like
Ready.
myself too, and I love myself. And
Come on.
it's really been a joy to get to the journey of learning to love myself so that I'm be available to align with the right person for me. So
I see.
thank you, Kazi.
Right now. Peace.
All right, bye-bye. So, all right, everybody. So thank you. A big shout out again to Chris Cowdy Roll. Make sure you tap in at togetherapart.us. He's got what it takes. And this is our perfect segue because one of the things that Cowdy said is about dating readiness and preparing ourselves to be in that long-term relationship and marriage. And just before our main event, because we are getting ready to go over to our panel, I'm going to start. I'm actually going to let our panelists into the room as we go ahead and set the stage, if you will. So, to see everybody is muted for, just stay muted for just a moment. I am going to just give us a little bit of a lay of the land. So, everyone, when we are getting ready to tap in with an amazing panel of Black husbands who are all married to a Black woman. And one of the things that got me interested in this topic of Black love is the revolution. It's because while I believe in us, I believe in Black people thriving, I believe in Black families thriving, and there's unfortunately a lot of negative connotations around Black love and the Black family. I think this is a space and an opportunity for us to dispel some of those myths and shine a positive light on Black love, Black marriages. I did look up a couple of stats, and in the context of the anti-racism work that we're doing in America's Hot Sauce, we did find that there is a disproportionate number of Black single people in the US. And that really is by design. When we look at the systems that are designed to oppress us as Black people, that includes the perpetuity of some of the brokenness that we find in our community. That if you look at some of the stats over the last 50 years, even in 1970, where there were just 36% and 28% of Black men and Black women who were never married. That's 36% and 27%. But jump forward to 2020, those percentages had jumped to 52% of Black men and 48% of Black women have never been married. And then when it comes to our family households, 72% of Black children are born into single parent households, which is a stat that staggered me. So I find that there are benefits to marriage, and we want to tap into some of those. So we just start thinking differently about what's the greater purpose of us coming together in partnership with a Black spouse. There's benefits to marriage, to whole families, because whole families make stronger communities. It leads to economic prosperity, higher education, and keeping our children in the homes. So with that, we are going to go to our panel, and let me pin you all here. We have coming into the building Kelsey Cooper, as well as Jeff Johnson and John Graham. Super excited for you all to be here. I'm going to do like the super quick bios. And then I'm super excited because I'm going to have you all say hello to the crowd. And then I got a little AI treat for us in terms of how we're going to set up our panel so everybody on YouTube can see us all at once. But for the bios, okay, I'm going to start with John Graham. John Graham has been featured in publications such as Forbes, US Today, the New York Times for his work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. His best-selling book, Plantation Theory, The Black Professional Struggle Between Freedom and Security, has been featured in fireside chats, book clubs, and has been made required reading for executives at companies like Google and LinkedIn. So, John, say hello to the people.
What's going on, people? Vanita, thank you so much for the space tonight. It's a pleasure to be with these brothers as well. What's up, Fred? I see you, Jeff.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, I love it. I was about to say first man, but it's like y'all already made that happen. Okay. And then I am going to go next over to Kelsey, introducing Kelsey Cooper. Kelsey, otherwise known as the social broker, y'all. Since 2003, Kelsey has made curating spaces for young Black professionals to connect, network, and foster synergy. Today, Kelsey stands as a proud family man. I love Kelsey's story. With nearly 2 decades of experience as a hub for culturally significant alliances between individuals, businesses, and brands, his Reserve Ambition podcast offers fresh insight into the realities of transitioning from employee life to entrepreneurship. So say hello to the people, Kelsey.
Oh, I was muted. I'm sorry. Like I was saying, thank you for inviting me on this panel. And I look forward to a great, amazing, empowering conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelsey. And then, of course, last but not least, we are going to bring to the stage Jeff Johnson. Love fam. So Jeff Johnson is an Emmy award-winning TV host, producer, writer, and sports cultural commentator. His work can be seen on Bleacher Report, MSG Networks, NBC, and more. Jeff is the host of the Jeff J Says YouTube channel and Power After Hour podcast. Say what up, Jeff.
What's going on, family? How you doing? Vanita, good to see you again. Brothers, good to see y'all too. Happy and really hyped to be on this panel and ready to get talking.
I think if I'm not sure correctly, I think you're the newest husband. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely the Neo. I'm definitely the Neo. One year plus, living life.
Congrats, congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Those pictures are tremendous.
Welcome to Wash.
Y'all let me in the club. I'm happy. You know what I mean? I didn't have to sneak in or call somebody to the door and wait for 3 hours and hit the phone and all of that. So I'm glad to be in the club.
No doubt.
So I'm going to go ahead and update our view so everybody can see us. Nice. We're all here. We're all here. That way everybody
Wow.
on YouTube can see us.
This is really
I know we're
dope.
doing new things. We're doing new things.
Yes.
All right, excellent. All right, so we're gonna jump right into the panel. In part, I will take from the conversation that we just had with Chris Kazi Roll. My first question, for any and everyone to jump in on, thinking about the context that I just shared, kind of looking at Black love, Black marriages from an anti-racism lens. I'm curious, what does Black love is the revolution mean to each of you?
Yeah, I'm
Black
happy to
love
kick
is
it
a
off.
revolution.
Oh, go ahead, Kelsey.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Look, as a revolution, right? It's this rekindling. It's a complete change, actually, as we think about this. And I think we are got four generations post 1964 Civil Rights Act, and you can trace almost the dismantling, systemic dismantling of Black relationships and Black households back from that point forward. And so, for you even holding this space and having conversations with Black married men is a revolution unto itself, because it's a voice and a perspective that we do not see portrayed in mass media. So I think the revolution is really honoring the relationships and providing the example for those who are seeking to find their person and reestablish Black family and community.
Agree with that. Kelsey, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah. No, we're talking about as a community economic revolution. Uh, all type of revolution that will make us better as a culture and a community, and even the playing field. And I feel like it boils back down to family. It boils back down to family and love. If we could get back to the source of who we are as a community, we could evolve to a whole nother level. So that's what Black love is a revolution means to me. And I'm excited to talk about it because I could envision it. Once we all get on the same page and understand what it's all about, imagine the things that we could do as a culture and as a community.
Yeah, and I jump in and say, when I think about revolution, I think about a subversion, right? Where we're subverting societal stereotypes that have been placed on us for generations just for merely existing. And part of that revolution is to dismantle those perceptions about us. Not that we should care about them, because we can't control what other people think about us. And whether you're wearing a suit or a do-rag, you still looked at the same. But I think with the revolution itself and what we're doing, I think it's a pushback on anything that's been said about what Black people can do and how Black people can love within a familial structure, where the expectations might say, for un unsubstantiated claims about what our success rate could be, even the fact of whether or not we actually date each other, and showing the proof that we're out here, we're doing it, and we're thriving. And we won't allow any stereotypes or any type of outside noise to disrupt what we have going on. And we want to continue our families, continue our bloodlines, and really make our ancestors proud, and continue what they did. Every struggle is built within a generation, and we got to build on the foundation of those previous generations. Otherwise, it was for naught, right? So I think with Black love, I think the revolution within ourselves is us being successful and thriving as families.
Well said, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I'm gonna continue on with Jeff and Kelsey, both of you, and John, jump in. But I'm like, this part of your story, if it applies to you, John, I'm not as familiar with. Jeff and Kelsey, I've known you both for a long time and known you both to be single for a long time. Uh, And we just had our relationship expert, Kadi, talk about that important period of singleness to like work on yourself and be in preparation for marriage, for connecting with that life partner. And then sometimes we might just have an idea that we're never going to get married. So I'm curious for each of you, for the amount of time that you were single, how much of it was time for you to work on yourself, and how much time for it might have been like you didn't think you were going to get married or wasn't, top of mind.
Well, I could start it off and say I think the lockdown, the lockdown helped me tremendously to look within myself and to have that time to myself to actually work on myself. If you live in a major city or you're preoccupied, there is enough distractions to keep you away from the main thing. And I think when I was younger, which a lot of men will empathize with, or young people in general, you're just in go mode, go, 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 go. And you're not really trying to develop until you have a moment where you say, I got to figure these things out. And I think life needed to be figured out in general for me when we got to 2020. I just had like my own version of my own cultural reset. And, of course, it's unfortunate that it took a once in a lifetime pandemic tragic event for it to slow down. But I took in it what I could, what little positives we could, and to say, okay, we're all slowing down, got to look within and see and figure out, find out new things about ourselves, develop old things, and really have that time to work. So I think as I got older, I actually took that time to work on me and to figure out what I wanted. And it was the greatest blessing that I could have got, because I think that's where I received the clarity in self and what my ultimate goal was, to find my wife and be living and loving life, right? And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. There was one point in my life where I was like, okay, Lord, if marriage isn't for me, if I have a higher purpose and this is the sacrifice, if I'm helping people for the greater good, it is what it is. Because it's if you've seen that viral Twitter thread where they talk about it's crazy out here, you better love the woman of your youth and all of that, like that crazy Twitter thread when they talk about like older guys trying to go back in the dating pool, and it's like, yo, you had a whole wife there, like you coming back out here, you don't know what's going on out here, you gonna run right back.
Yeah.
And it's those type of realizations that I think people will have, that you have as you gain more clarity. So that's what I think. That's what I think for me. So I was resigned at one point to say, if it ain't gonna happen, it ain't gonna happen. But I think once I was able to actually work on myself, I found my way.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Kelsey, for the person that I have known to, like I said, was single a long time, and now it's like, I love being married. Tell the people.
Well, you know, when I initially met my wife, 2012, we were on different pages, and I was like going towards entrepreneurship. Of course, she was initially ready to go, get married, have kids, and we dated for a while, and then we had that conversation. We're timing is off, and so we broke up. And fast forward about 3 years later, 4 years later, this is 2012. About 4 years later, I took the leap of entrepreneurship, and Jeff said something that was important. When you go the road of entrepreneurship, it's a lonely place. So you have a lot of time to think and to figure out your life, because you don't have any distractions, because it's just you and your goals. And I was focused, minding my own business. And one day, me and my wife, we stayed friends on Facebook. And she came from Trinidad Carnival, and she had an outfit on. And all I did was just liked it. It was beautiful. She looked amazing. And we started talking again in terms of where we are. And I said, I'm in a different place. I'm in an entrepreneur's place, and I know what you want. And I said, just let's take it day by day and see what happens. And day by day happened. Next thing you know, we have a daughter. Next thing you know, we're married and happy ever after. More to the story, but I'm trying to keep it short.
Of course. I know we all got these, we all have these stories. So actually I want to shift gears a little bit. I'm gonna kick it back over to you, John. And one of the things that I have found and kind of just like talking to people, some of my own experiences, friends, is some folks feel like perhaps they will not get married or marriage is not for them because they didn't have an example
Mm.
of a good marriage, or they didn't have an example of a positive male in their life to show them what it means to be a great husband, and they may feel like they aren't equipped to do it. I'm curious, what in your experience, how important is having a positive example of a husband and a healthy family to making the decision to get married?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, you know, I'm a product of divorce. My parents split when I was 5 years old. So I didn't have the nuclear right example beyond 5 years old. However, I did have the opportunity to spend, half and then half with both parents. So I got the energy I needed from both parents. The point being is, even if you don't have a positive example, even in a less than ideal example, you have still an example, right, of what not to do, or a foundation of what you'll do differently. Then it also requires you to find tools, right, to connect with people who are in the place that you want to be, or have wisdom, through experience of a successful relationship, successful marriage, and soak up that game, absorb, ask questions, be curious. And some of the stuff you just got to figure out on your own, right? There's no manual for this. So, in my case, my wife and I got married in 2009. We're working on 15 years this year in September. That's pre-digital, right? Like I think the iPhone came out in '07, so it wasn't like, swipe left or no, there was none of that. You still had to meet people in person and have game and conversation, and and actually have conversations at a restaurant, like instead of texting and all these other things. And less influence of social media, less optionality, less influence of imagery and opportunity and DMs and all these other things. So I can say that I am hopeful, but I'm also like thankful to be out the game, because I know a lot of single folks today don't have the examples, right? Just by virtue of the statistics you shared, Black folks are the most unmarried of any racial group in this country, right? I think we were 85%. We were the most married pre 1964. Post 64, actually post 1980, we're down to like 30% marital rate, 29% marital rate. So there's not a lot of examples personally, but people still find ways to navigate love. It's just being very self-aware, being very open to communicate, and navigate through the challenges, because it ain't easy. Yeah.
Yes. No, thank you for that, John. Anybody, Jeff, Kelsey, want to add to that, or any other thoughts on examples being necessary to making the choice to get married?
I mean, seeing my parents are still together. They've been together over 50 years. And seeing how they stay together for so long is actually a great, it's great because I could understand going in what it's all about. It's not a fairy tale. It's not, I've seen them ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen everything. So once you see that, when you finally decide to get married, what to expect. You have a realistic perspective of what marriage is all about. And I was saying earlier, I think a lot of us look at marriage as one dimensional. It's not about the the lovey-dovey, the honeymoon stage. It's about real life. It's about challenges, a lot of challenges. But being on the same page with your partner and having the same goals, I feel like that is what keeps a, a good marriage going, as long as you're on the same page with your partner. So seeing my parents being married for so long, the ups and downs and all the different challenges, definitely, you know, made me understand what it's all about going in.
Yeah, that's a great point, Benita. If I can just add on to that wisdom, one of the
Absolutely.
one of the things that we share with our children, especially my son will be 13 in April, my daughter's 11, as we push this notion of duty over Disney and loyalty over lifestyle, right? And this notion that, you know, the romantic era, not for the kids, but just in general, this notion of romance, which if anybody looks up the actual definitions of romance, will see that it was never designed to be sustainable, right? It's only an initial courtship, and if you dig into the history of courting, you know, and courtesans in European monarch environments, it's not something that would be enviable, nor should you be, you know, chasing. So reality is, you have to first understand what, you know, especially when you first get married, like your first 7 years, you're still trying to change each other to suit each other's, you know, ideal perceptions or perspectives of what you think they should be, rather than getting through to the understanding of the things you can't change, won't change, nor should you, but understanding how to appreciate those differences and recognizing where your deficiencies are and their strengths are, and vice versa. But yeah, I mean, this notion of romance and this lifestyle that's portrayed through social and broader media is a consumption based fantasy, right? That rarely stands up to the test of reality.
Come on,
Yeah.
John. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead because we didn't mention. Of course, we picked Black Love is the Revolution in the month of February, which is not only Black History Month, Black Future Month, but it is also Black Love Month. And John and I had an interesting exchange because last Wednesday was Valentine's Day, and I'll admit I have been guilty. I love me some Valentine's Day. I love the romance. I love the flowers and the candy. And part of it though is part of my paradigm because it's what my dad did for me, you know. So I relate to Kelsey. My parents have been married for 52 years. I am clear that it is not all roses all the time, but sometimes it's just nice. You know, it's just nice to have those little fun moments with something like a
And
Valentine's
that's
Day. And John was just like not having it.
I'm like, look, man, look, I'll get you flowers on the 15th and July 22nd. Like I don't need the consumer holiday to tell me when to appreciate you, right? Like it's, you know, I get it. But if that is your taste, then that also has to be a conversation. We had a really good conversational exchange on that. Is that's how you want to be celebrated in that moment, but how does he want to celebrate you? And how do those things come together and work out? Where's the middle ground and compromise, right? Like that's a conversation for sure.
I mean,
That's
intention.
another one of those C
Intention.
words. We already talked about communication, compromise. Go ahead, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna say intention. You have to be intentional in your marriage. Pay attention to your partner. Understand, you know, where she is mentally, what her needs are, and if she enjoys a Valentine's Day experience, make sure she, you know, make sure you provide that for her because that's what she loves. That's what she wants. And I think if we understand our partner, it's not about us. It's about our partner and making sure they're happy so you could be happy in the long run. So I think intention, we have to be stay intentional and understand the needs of our partner to make them happy.
Yeah, and V, I'd also chime in and say a couple of things with the example piece. It's as important to have great examples as it is examples of what not to do. And I've been blessed to have examples of great husbands and great marriages, but I've also been watching from afar with a lot of relationships and stuff that I've seen. And I soak it up like a sponge, and I just say, you know, and John will know when you're coming through this, when you especially coming through a fraternity, they'll tell you if there's things that you see or things that you experienced that you didn't like, you should not pass it down to the next generation or the next brothers that you encounter. And I feel the same way about marriage. There's going to be things that you see that you think, oh, that's fly. And there's other things that you see that are like, nah, I'm not doing that. So just know the difference and apply it accordingly. And as far as like Valentine's Day and holidays and stuff go, all of this is made up. Somebody came up with an idea for every single thing that we celebrate in life. We are living in somebody else's creative reality. So you can be as creative to celebrate however you want to, just be on the same page. Because the worst thing is when one person wants to do something the other person doesn't, just because of beliefs or principle, when it's just as simple as, hey, this is something I want to do. Okay. And you're happy and they're happy and you're happy together. So I remember one time somebody said that to me, like, yo, that's all this stuff is made up anyway. And it just blew my mind. And I was just like, well, take the jack out of my neck and let's see what the real world is doing, because this matrix is different.
All facts, man. All facts.
That's good. John, you already know I really like Kelsey and Jeff's answers.
I know you do. I know you do. But before I get, demonized in the comments, man, my wife told me don't buy her flowers on Valentine's Day. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't like, oh, flowers. No, she told me don't do it. So I'm like, okay.
So he'd be listening to his wife, so leave him alone.
Listen. I watered the plant. That's what I did. I watered the plant.
Shout out to all the wives. Shout out to everyone's wife. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in and having this conversation tonight. Shout out to all the wives. Okay, so speaking of wives, so shifting gear again, I'm going to go into this other thought, and this is a question for everybody. So I talked about dispelling negative connotation, and I think, unfortunately, and it might have been Jeff, and then previously Kazi talked about whether or not are we even dating each other, because it is a disproportionate number. We did some of the statistics in the research that I did find that Black women are more likely to be committed to dating Black men only. They want to have a Black child, create a Black family. Black men are much more likely to date outside their race. And sometimes some of the narrative around that is that somehow it's easier, Black women are too difficult, or I just can't, whatever it is, whatever the hardship is for being married to a Black woman. So I'd love for each of you to share a little bit about what's the best thing about being married to a Black woman, and what is something that you would say to dispel some of the myths around being with a Black woman.
Well, I would say for me, it feels like home. It's my culture. It's what I grew up on. And it just feels right. It feels like home. So that's what it is to me. It feels aligned with my spirit. It feels connected to my heritage. It just is what it is. Like, I don't knock, I support all love, right? Like, I support all love, all love matters, right? Like, I support it. I don't knock people. I don't knock. I celebrate it, because it's hard. It is hard to find genuine love. Like, it is. It's not as easy as people say. Like, you can find love, but it may not be genuine. It may not be authentic. There's different types, but to find genuine love. So if whoever you find it with, find that and live your life, because we don't know. All our clocks are ticking and we don't know when the buzzer goes up, right? So love hard, love strong, and love while you can, while you here. I just know for me, when I was growing up, that's just what I felt. Like, I just knew eventually it was going to be diaspora connected. Put it to you like that. You could be from another country. You could have another different type of like nationality based culture, but you were going to be a part of the diaspora one way or another. That's what I knew, just because that is what I was attracted to. That's what I gravitated towards. And that's what I just felt like love was going to be for me.
Yeah. I mean, you said dispelling myths. And so the clarification, not even the clarification, I think you positioned it as Black men are more likely to date outside the race, right? I just want to make sure.
Those are really two different. They're not necessarily meant to be the same joint thought, but just statistically, yes. Black men are more likely to date outside their race than a Black woman. And
Okay.
then a separate thought is kind of why might that be? There are this kind of running connotations or narratives in our society that it's somehow difficult to be with a Black woman. So this
Mm.
dispelling that myth.
Yeah, yeah. And I also say from a statistical perspective, Black men marry Black women at a rate of 85%. Now, Black women marry Black men at a rate of 93%. So there's some variation, right? But the myth is that there's this rampant marrying outside of the race for Black men, and it is absolutely not based on data or reality. Yes, there's a difference, but it's not it's not vast. And so I think when most cultures seek to marry within their cultural context, and that goes across the board for any racial or ethnic group. I think where we get jammed up is that there's so many narratives pushing that we don't stay within the group, or that Black women don't want that they can't find a suitable Black man, or that Black men find it easier to be with non-Black women. Like, there's these narratives that are pushed through media, music, bad advice from single people who have failed in relationships. Like, it's just a cacophony of wrong info, right? Versus what does it look like when we do see these celebratory examples that don't get any media time, any airtime, any uplift, right? And so I think we just have to do a better job of, when we see it, lift it up and amplify it as much as possible, because it is certainly a different reality than what we're shown.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
Yes. Thank you for that, John.
Definitely controlling our own narrative is key. I totally agree with John in terms of I see more brothers with sisters than the opposite. And, in terms of answering the question why, compatibility is key. I am Jamaican, my wife is St. Lucian. And culturally, our cultures are very similar. That goes a long, you're looking forward to having a long-term relationship, having the same culture, liking the same food, liking the same music, like doing the same things, goes a long way in terms of being with someone on a long-term basis. So I see, like I said, I see a lot of brothers more with sisters than with other. And conversations like this is taking control of the narrative, so we could tell the world or dispel all the false narratives that's out there in terms of who we are as Black men and sisters.
Love that.
So then,
Peace.
no, that all of that's good. To answer the question, what's the best thing about being married to a Black woman? Right? Jeff gave his answer, but John, Kelsey.
I mean, how much do we got?
1 minute.
Oh, I'll be brief. I think there's beauty in the ability to not have to explain certain things. I mean, Kelsey just talked about that cultural connection, that I don't have to explain things because our struggles have historical rooting in similarity and familiarity. Our ability to work on one accord towards a legacy and instilling values in our Black children, on being on the same page in that regard, I think is phenomenal. My wife, very much, she's a stay-at-home wife. She homeschools our children. She nurtures our household. She's our chief home officer, as I call her. She hates that title, but she provides the support and the nurturing so that the household runs, while I do what I need to do to ensure that there's a household. And that understanding, and there's a whole nother conversation about where we land on gender roles and so forth, but what we know is there's millions of years of data that supports this model that works for us, and we honor that. And so I think there's there's beauty in understanding, the things that work well for us, and leaning into those and being open to communicate, verbally and non-verbally, right? Telepathically, spiritually connected.
Black women are they're they're safe space. My wife is my safe space in terms of being vulnerable and, and being lacking per se, but still be a man. She's my safe space, and she's a rock. She's very dependent. It's so important that we find the right partner. When you find the right partner, it means everything. We hear about sisters are doing all kind of crazy things, but you're looking for the wrong things when you find a partner. If you're looking for someone who's beautiful, big booty, that might not be the person that you want to have kids with. So just as long as we find the right partner or the right sister, whomever. But my wife is like my safe space, so I know she's my rock. My daughter, we have a daughter together. She takes care of our daughter. I don't have to worry about anything with my daughter or any kind of negative things out there. She's very protective. She's like my safe space, and I feel like finding the right partner is key. And I think that's it. I was a little bit all over the place, but
Oh, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. I know I'm inspired. Y'all got me out here, and everybody and people in the chat. The chat is going off. We got hand claps. Shout out to the chat. We see Avina and Rocky and Boney and Theo, a whole bunch of people. We do have one question that's coming from the chat, so we're gonna go to our last question for the panel, and then we'll go. We have just a question or two from Q&A, but the people in they are shouting y'all out. They're doing quotes from the panel, the YouTube, the family. They're loving it. So. Okay, last question for the panel, and I'm going to ask that with your answer, please feel free to include how folks can stay in touch with you. If you have a project going on, John, I would love for you to touch on the dating app that you mentioned to me the other night. What is one lesson that you would share with our community that has helped you sustain your marriage?
Do y'all want me? To go? Or you got
Sure.
something?
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Communication, 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 and communication is key.
One more
It
for
is the alpha, it is the omega, it's the first thing, it's the last thing. It is the foundation for a functional, satisfying, clear relationship. It is everything. It's everything in life. You could tie a lot of stuff back to proper communication and clear communication. When you understand each other, when you can communicate, it opens the doors for you to truly be able to live a productive and harmonious life. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be tough conversations or serious conversations or even conflict within the conversation. But if you know how to converse and you know how to talk to one another and you realize that this is my partner and not Shannon Sharp and Stephen A on the other side of me and I'm trying to win an argument, then I think it flows better. I think it just flows better. And I think you can solve a lot of problems if you know how to communicate with each other and understand that it's y'all versus the problem and not you versus each other. And therapy,
Come on, Jeff.
therapy, couples therapy. I don't care if you don't believe in therapy, therapy believes in you. So you should invest in that, because I saw a clip of all people, Little Boozy, talking about anger management and how it changed his life because he didn't realize how messed up he was, and how seeing multiple friends gunned down in his hood was akin to war veterans coming home and watching their friends in combat pass, and there was unpacked trauma and latent trauma within that he didn't even realize because he was taught to tough things out. And just like how a lot of us as Black men are taught to just push through and bury your emotions, we have things within us that we don't even understand that can arise through therapy. And in couples therapy, you can understand each other better because when you have a third party that can tell you both what's actually going on as opposed to what's within your perspective, it'll heal, it'll illuminate, and it'll facilitate the best relationship you could have. So that's what I got.
Yes, Jeff, I love that. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, well, first of all, Benita, thank you so much for this platform. It's absolutely needed and necessary. I appreciate you, brothers, as well. Certainly have more to talk about. This can't be the only one we do together. But I would say anybody who's interested in learning more about the work, plantationtheory.com, Plantation Theory, the Black professional struggle between freedom and security. New book is in process, more details to come. And as far as the app is concerned, not enough details to share, but what I will say is that the mission is to revitalize the Black community by facilitating 1 million Black marriages. So more to come on that one. Parting words in terms of advice, I would say first you have to learn to allow. And that's why I said in your first 7 years, you're trying to change each other. Allow each other to be who each other are, who you are at the time, understanding that change is inevitable, but growth is optional, right? And so you are not the person you married, just as your partner is not the same person that you married when you got married. Over time, you change. And so, like I said, I'm 15 years deep, and I know that we are different people, and that's a reality of life and lived experience. So allow the growth, understand the change is going to happen, but grow by choice. And then also one thing that we do, because arguments and miscommunications and all those things are also inevitable. One thing that my wife and I do is when we are arguing, it's usually over something hella dumb. We remind each other that we're each other's best friends, right? First and foremost, my intent is to love you. You're my best friend. Like, that's our reset. And so find your reset, the thing that brings you back to center and reminds you of who this person is, and they're not your enemy or your opponent, but your best friend and your partner in legacy. So.
Good one.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead, Kelsey.
Now I was gonna say my advice is to understand yourself first and foremost, what you like, what you don't like, and be honest with yourself. And also understand what it takes to make a good partner for you on the long term. Don't go with what society is saying. Um, Follow your gut. Be truthful to yourself and follow your gut. We usually know, because I know there was a period in my life I was chasing the idea of what a good partner is, and that never those relationships never work out. But once I follow my gut and I'm honest with myself, you know, it she came right into my life. I didn't even really have to look. It just happened. So understand yourself and understand what a good partner, right, understand what it takes to be a good partner for you in terms of from a long term basis. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kelsey, and that's it. I'm sorry. We do actually have one question from our chat. But I want to make sure that we follow Kelsey and Jeff as we depart. This is from Theo Brown. Do we, and we touched on this a little bit, but if one or two want to answer, do we as Black folks also benefit from marriage in this day and time?
Cool. Any of us or specifically? Jeff, you want to go, brother?
Oh no, I thought you were going. I could go after you, but
Oh, okay.
please, bro, you got the floor.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, my wife grounded me. I mean, I was literally in New York, chasing my own tail. But once I met my partner, my wife, we kind of got on the same page, got in sync, not short term and long term. And so you have something to work towards, something to work for. So definitely marriage benefit us if you find the right partner. Once again, um, it, it, miracles will happen. I was saying that before I met my wife. Okay, our daughter was born in 2018, and my wife lived in DC, and I moved from New York in 2018, end of 2018, to DC. COVID happened in 2019. So if I was in New York chasing my tail and all COVID happened, I could imagine where all the different things I heard in New York, I could have been a part of that. So finding the right, like I said, finding the right partner, chasing your gut, being honest with yourself, and chasing your and listen to your gut is definitely key. So yes, marriage do benefit us collectively in this day and age if you find the right partner.
Yeah, that's really dope, Kelsey. And I'll follow up and say, if you ask the benefits of marriage, I would say, well, what's the benefit of doing all of this? What's the benefit of dating? What's the benefit of a relationship? What are you actually looking for? When you find out your why, then you'll know whether or not marriage will be beneficial for you, because it's your why to the nth power. Because a marriage is that much more significant, that much more of a responsibility, that much more of a focus and a concentration and an investment. It's an investment. If I ask somebody why would you invest in this stock on Wall Street? Oh, because I see that their long-term outlook is going in the positive direction. They have long-term growth potential. It's the same thing in a relationship. It's the same exact thing. If you can see the benefits, the long-term benefits of what being a union and a partner with another person can do for you, then by all means get together, because it is as much about business as it is about love. Uncle Sam is waiting for y'all to get married so he could talk to you about a whole different type of tax brackets and stuff like that. He waiting to give you the pamphlet. And then everything is a financial decision. Financial decisions, every type of decision you make is a coordinated effort, or at least probably should be. However it works for you, right? But this is what this. I think there's like studies about how men live longer when they're married as opposed to being single, right? Like there's a lot of studies out there, and I get it, because from the time we're toddlers, we're like crash test dummies. We need some type of direction. We have that internal aggression where we would all be stunt doubles for people and stuntmen if we could pick our own, if we went by our natural urges. So it all makes sense. So if you want to live longer, if you want those long-term benefits and you are seeking those out, then it does benefit to get married, but only if you're really serious about it, because then you're adding a level of stress and on you that you're not going to live up to if you're not real about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Look,
oh,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, John, before you jump in, I was going to say, Jeff, can you tell the folks where they could to follow you after this?
Oh yeah,
Connect with you
sure.
after this.
Real quick, Jeff J says all social media and YouTube. If you're into sports, if you're into culture, if you're into commentary, if you're into all three, you can follow me. I talk a lot about basketball, sports betting. We have a Knicks Weekly Corner. Got a lot of dope people that I get on the show. Just started building up my YouTube as well, along with all the other projects that I have going along. But if you want to know what I'm up to, follow me on whatever social you engage in, and definitely tap in on YouTube if you like watching dope content.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, over to you, John. And then we're going to cap off with Kelsey.
Yeah, I just think that, and I'm glad that that Jeff put it in business terms. The reality is, and I wonder if the question was is it financially beneficial as Black? Right? Like I feel like there's some nuance to that question beyond what was asked. But either way, look, marriage in the construct that we live in is a business endeavor, right? It is a merger of two entities. You have to do your due diligence and ensure that the balance sheet that you're inheriting as you merge is bringing assets, not just liabilities, right? And if we're going to look at it that way, then leveraging marriage for all of its benefits financially, if you do it right, then yeah, that's one thing. But I also say, if we're taking this out of the physical and into the spiritual, you are not just marrying this person, you're marrying her ancestral or his ancestral connections backwards too. So you also got to be mindful, because now whatever you produce, that's bringing two ancestral trees together. So know the person, know yourself, and I think Kelsey said it best. Like, you got to know yourself, and you should see your partner doing that work to know themselves as well before you get married. Because otherwise, you're bringing two broken people together trying to fix it in flight. Sorry for the mixed metaphors.
And it don't fit. It don't fit. You like, damn, where the other piece at?
Oh, we left it. Oh, okay. I didn't see that piece was missing. Oh, okay. Yeah, well.
and I think we know what's good for us. We feel it. We know. And I feel like I said, when you know yourself, you can trust yourself. You trust the decisions you make. And it's so easy to identify the perfect partner for you in terms of someone to marry.
And the social broker, where can everybody find you?
Kelsey Cooper on all social media. Instagram, Kelsey Cooper. Threads, Kelsey Cooper. I love Threads. I'm on X as just Kelsey, CALCIE. In terms of one of my, can I give my plug now as well?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So my wife reintroduced me to Carnival. I went to St. Lucia Carnival last year, had a ball. So we are hosting St. Lucia Carnival Escape this summer, July 11th to the 17th. And if you want to learn more about this trip that I'm putting together with my wife, go to St. Lucia, stluciacarnival.site. We'd love to have you. It was a great time. We went together as a couple, and we had a ball, and want to do it every year. So join me, guys.
Love that. Love that. Thank you, Kelsey. I know we're a bit over time, everybody. Thank you for chiming in. We have blown up the YouTube, the chat. Everybody is so excited. Thank you, everybody who is tuned in on YouTube tonight. We will be back. We're doing this once a quarter. We'll be back in June, September, and December with different topics, anti-racism topics, everything from Juneteenth to self-care is the revolution. As we talked a lot tonight about working on ourselves, I want to thank John Graham, Kelsey Cooper, and Jeff Johnson for joining us tonight. Thank you to my team that's working in the background. Shout out to Soul Salcido. Thank you to Kirti Preet, who joined us and opened us up tonight with our breath work, and to Chris Cosibro, who came and shared his relationship expert tips with us. For anyone that I haven't met, my name is Bernita Adele. I am the founder of America's Hot Sauce. If you ask why, it's because Black people are America's Hot Sauce. You can tap in at americashotsauce.club. I'm at Bernita Adele on all social channels, or at least most of them. You'll definitely get me on Instagram. And I'm also fiercely committed to Black people thriving. And I've taken so much tonight in my own journey towards my vision to be married and to have children. I've learned a lot tonight. I know I have some things to work on. And I'm fiercely committed to doing that because I do love Black love. And thank you again for everybody who joined in. And we are going to say adieu. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great
Appreciate
conversation.
you, Vanita.
Likewise.
Appreciate y'all brothers too. This was awesome. I learned a lot.
This is awesome. We should definitely do this more often.
Absolutely. We'll stay connected for sure. Be well, be safe, y'all.
Yeah, y'all too.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Good night.